Let's focus on Nvidia's meteoric rise. Nvidia is currently valued as the most valuable company in the world at over $3 trillion. But what was the reason for their rise? I mean, this is a relatively newcomer into the market. This is a company that produces a very small set of products compared to the likes of Apple and Microsoft. But that didn't stop them from becoming such a huge and successful company. Now, today I want to talk about that because one of the things that I love to do as an entrepreneur is to study the successes and failures of other companies. And you learn from both. You don't just learn from the successes, you learn from the failures. But not just that, I like to take a lesson from there and apply it to my own business, to my context, to my vision, and see what I can take away from there. So let's get started with it. So the first contributing factor to Nvidia's success is the fact that they had a consistent focus from day one. Now, the CEO, Jensen Huang, had a vision and he stuck to that vision. And what was his vision? He wanted to make graphics accelerator cards. Now, at some stage when the company was much bigger and much more successful, they could have decided, why are we just making this product that sits on the side of the main processor of the computer? Why don't we go into the processor market? In other words, why don't we go into competition with AMD and Intel and start building actual processors? They never thought about that. What they did was they remained focused on their product as a graphics accelerator. And what they decided to do was to innovate and to come up with solutions beyond just graphics that they can apply their hardware to. And what did they do? They came up with artificial intelligence, cryptocurrencies, and blockchain cryptography. So they found other uses of their product, but they stuck to the one product. They stuck to their market and they opted to become the best at what they do in that game. Unlike Microsoft, right? Microsoft is a company that has hundreds of products, and the one defining factor of most of Microsoft products is that they are mediocre. Right? There'll be something good about it, and there'll be a lot of things that irritate you about their products. But Nvidia, on the other hand, just focused on that one thing. In other words, they didn't chase shiny things. Now, one of the phenomena that I face as a mentor to entrepreneurs is this, that I will speak to an entrepreneur who's got about 5 or 6 different businesses operating, and none of them are related to each other. So the guy will have, for example, a transport company and a laundry and a printing company, and he'll be doing 3 or 4 other things, and none of them are related. And what happens is that these people are always so busy running between these businesses and chasing all the shiny things that they don't get the opportunity to grow any one of their businesses. Hence, they do all the businesses an injustice. My advice to these entrepreneurs is this: focus on the one thing, focus on the one business, and in that business, look at the 80-20 Pareto principle, right? Because 20% of your products are what are giving you 80% of your profits. Remember that. 20% of your products will give you 80% of your profits. So focus on those products and become the best at what you do. Look at the IT Varsity example. We had tremendous opportunities to get into other fields, into the fields of development, recruitment, consulting, but we stuck to one thing. We stuck to education. And when it came to education, go and look at the course offerings on IT Varsity's website. Do you find dozens and dozens of courses in pretty much every faculty you can imagine? No, we only stuck to tech and entrepreneurship. From day one, we knew what we wanted. We stuck to that vision and we found success within that vision. And slowly but surely, we are becoming the go-to guys for tech and entrepreneurship training in Africa. And that's my vision, to become Africa's #1 tech and entrepreneurship academy. So we focused on that. And so my advice to you entrepreneurs out there, stop My advice to you is stop chasing shiny things. There's a lot of things that look attractive, that look appealing, and there's a lot of times, listen to this is psychology. There are a lot of times when you will feel a little inadequate and you look at somebody else's success and you'll think, well, perhaps if I did what that person is doing, I will be successful. That's wrong thinking, right? For a number of reasons. But the main reason is this, that you are doubting yourself. And that doubt, that self-doubt as an entrepreneur, look, it happens to everyone. No matter how big you are, no matter how successful your business is going to be, you're always going to look at those above you and you're going to look at their success and you're going to try to mimic that success. Look, learn from that success, don't try and mimic it, right? Find your own formula for success. That's the beauty of entrepreneurship. So don't try to mimic their success and chase after everything that they are chasing. Stick to what you know. Steve Jobs famously said, the most difficult decisions are not what to do, but it was what not to do. I mean, Apple had lots of opportunities to grow in different directions, but they focused on just a few products and they grew around those products. And they aimed to be the best in those. Debatable, but you know what I'm trying to say. That was their business strategy. Now, the second contributing factor in Nvidia's success was innovation. They innovated the heck out of their products. They worked and worked and worked on those products so that those products became the best in the world. And maybe, again, debatable whether they actually are, but that was the intention, to make products that are the best in the world. But not only did they innovate within the product itself, they innovated within a larger context. Now think about this, remember this, they didn't just innovate on the product itself, they innovated on the larger applications of their products, on the usage, on the benefits of their products. Let me explain what I mean by this. So initially they started making graphics accelerators, which basically assist the main processor of the computer. They take over some of the load. But they went beyond graphics acceleration over the next few years. What did they do? They went into artificial intelligence. Their graphics accelerators were good enough to handle some of the load or a lot of the load that artificial intelligence requires. So they found a way to use the same product but for other purposes. And then, as I said earlier, they went into the crypto market, the Bitcoin market, and in doing so, what did they do? They took the same product and they found other uses for it. So they innovated in that space. Now, how did they come to know that? How did they end up doing something like that, innovating like that? The answer is simple, which is the third reason for their success. Now, the third factor for their success was this. They focused on their customers and what their customers needed. Now, if you ask me, for a starting entrepreneur, for a startup entrepreneur, somebody who is just getting, sort of taking their first baby steps, my best advice to you is listen to your customers. Listen to what they want and give them what they want, right? And as far as possible, give them not just the product, but also the quality, the service that they expect. And then that's step one. Give them exactly what they want. But then start going beyond that. Once you've mastered that, start going beyond that. Start over-delivering. Under-promise and over-deliver. So somebody is expecting a product from you, give them that product with some extra service on top of that. And then that's stage 2 in customer satisfaction. Stage 3 is customer delight, which is give them solutions to problems they didn't even know they had. So in other words, give them products they didn't even know they wanted. Now this takes a very high level of innovation and a lot of experience with customer service, with customer satisfaction. If you are starting out, don't aim for that. If you are starting out, aim to just deliver on your promise. Give the customer what they want. Once you've mastered that, then go into stage 2, which is give them a little more. And then stage 3, which is on a whole new level, is innovate things for your customers that they didn't even know that they wanted. Now, if you look at the evolution of Apple as a company, and I like the example of Apple because it's so clear and well known to everyone rather than speaking about some obscure company. Apple started out giving customers exactly what they wanted. There was a demand for home PCs, so they built home PCs and they gave them that. And then they innovated to make their products better. Then they innovated again to give their customers a little more than what they had expected. And finally, when you look at products like the iPhone and the iPad, they gave the world what the world didn't even know they wanted. I mean, the iPhone revolutionized the smartphone market. How? It's because Apple had built up that skill set over decades. Over decades, they built up that skill set of providing customers with value beyond their expectations. And then they went further. They created products that there wasn't even a perceived need for. People didn't even know they needed the product. I mean, Steve Jobs himself said he questioned whether the world needed an iPad, but they put it out and it became one of the most successful tech gadgets in the world. So focus on your customers. Again, I'm saying it. Focus on your customers. They will tell you what they need. They will tell you in which direction you can take your business, and they will give you your success. Now, these are some of the lessons that I personally have learned from my dad, and these are lessons that I live by and I run my businesses by. And these are the things that I teach people in my entrepreneurial workshops, in my entrepreneurial program. Now, as you know, if you've seen the previous episodes of my podcast and you've seen me on TikTok, I am currently looking for 1,000 action-oriented, aspiring entrepreneurs, people who I can assist to go from unemployed to self-employed, from unemployed to revenue generating in their businesses. Now, I don't want the type of people who are just going to be sort of expecting everything to be handed to them on a plate, that are expecting that things are going to be easy, that things are going to be algorithmic, where somebody is going to give them a series of steps, do A, B, and C, and then you will be successful. No, business is not like that. If you want that sort of thing, I don't know, go and get a job or something. But if you're a person who understands that what worked for person A is not going to work for me, I'm going to have to chart my own path. I'm going to find my own way of doing things, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to succeed. If you are that type of person, then why not join me? Join me in my entrepreneurship program. It's not a course. It is a course, right? But the course is only one part of it. Alongside the course goes mentorship, guidance, business support, you name it. It's a whole program to get you from zero to revenue generating. And my aim is, at the very least, $1,000 per month, which would translates in South African rands to about 18,000 rands a month. How do I take you from there to there? I can't do this alone. Remember, as part of my entrepreneurship program, I always say to everyone, and I'm saying that again to you, if you are interested, join me. But remember, it's 10% me and 90% you. If you fail, don't. That's another topic altogether. If you fail, get up and keep going again. That's the kind of people I'm looking for. People with resilience. Right. So if you want to join me, just drop me an email, bilal@itvarsity.org, and say business. And my team will handle everything else from there. We'll handle your entire enrollment, registration, you name it, and your journey will begin with us. Now, I just want to wrap up with one more thing, with a little story, which is this. A few years ago, when IT Varsity just started to get noticed by everyone, I got a call from a Silicon Valley investor. And he called me into a meeting. I went with my son. and he offered us considerable investment from Silicon Valley, from some of the big venture capitalists there. And the guy was genuine, I don't doubt that. But there were some things that he said, some preconditions that he put in place that really put me off. And that's what I want to tell you about. So the one precondition he put was that we need you to firstly drop your prices and make your system more automated. Your system, the way your business operates currently, is too customer centric. You are trying too hard with your customer service. What we need you to do is to make yourself less customer centric, drop your prices, and work on the volumes. Second thing he said is, he asked me, are you using AI? I said, yeah, we're using AI everywhere, literally everywhere in our business. He said, well, make that your buzzword and put it into your pitch deck, and I'll get you that. So drop your prices, drop your quality, put your AI as your main pitch, and we'll get you investment. I thanked him, didn't say anything. I thanked him, and I returned back to my office, and I was fuming. I was really upset. But after I calmed down, my son asked me what my thoughts were. I said, there is no way I am accepting investment, not even a cent from this person. Why? It's nothing that he's doing wrong, but what he wants to do is in the way that Silicon Valley does things. Their focus is on volumes. Their focus is on exponential growth. So if you look at online academies like Udemy, they've got hundreds of millions of users. The courses are cheap. He even used Udemy as an example. He wanted us to become the next Udemy. Cheap courses, hundreds of millions of users, high revenue generation, success rate, I don't know. I think the last time I checked, it was like 1%, if I'm not mistaken. So I asked my son, is that what we want? Are we just after the volumes? Are we just after people's money? Are we just going to take all that money and not worry about people's success? He said, no, that's not what we are in business for. We are in business to ensure that we take people from zero to employed. From zero to employed. Our vision from the outset, and my son knows this, and we live by this vision, which is this, that for us, the product is not the course, and the customer is not the student. That's with every other training institute in the world. With us as IT Varsity, the product is you, our student, and the customer is your customer or your employer. So we need to produce a product which is ready for that market, a product which the customer will be happy to receive. So if we take one of our students who is a software developer now, a junior entry-level software developer, and we put him into the market, the customer, who is the employer, needs to be happy and say, wow, this is a great product you have produced. Now, our whole business model revolves around that. How do we take the individual from complete green into a fully fledged product that's ready for the market that he is going to be serving? And so that is the reason we rejected the Silicon Valley investors. And I'm glad that when I read about Nvidia's success, I saw similarities between their business and mine, in that they didn't get tempted to chase every shiny thing. They didn't get tempted by this and that investor. They might have taken investment, but they stuck to their vision. They gave, the CEO gave his company strong leadership, and they stuck with that. And I personally believe that if you stick with your vision, if you are true to yourself, you will find success eventually. Thanks a lot. See you next week.